Hey y'all, so today's going to be a 44 mag showdown. What I'm going to do is I'm going to compare what I think is two of the best guns out there if you're interested in carrying 44 mag on a daily basis. And we're going to compare the two of them, pros and cons, and see which one might fit your needs better. We have the 329PD Smith & Wesson, and then we have the Model 69 Smith & Wesson. Let's take a look at them on the bench and see which one is best. Alright, so I'm going to start with size, capacity, and weight. Reason being, it's pretty much the easiest thing to compare starting out. And the first two, size and capacity, are pretty much exactly what you would expect, whereas weight is the only curveball. So, the Model 69 is an L-frame Smith & Wesson, whereas the 329PD is an N-frame. L-frame is smaller than the N-frame, obviously. I won't go too much detail about frame sizes when it comes to Smith & Wesson revolvers. There's a bunch of videos out there on that, and I don't want this section to drag on. So, because this is smaller, you go down a shot. This is only a 5-shot, where the 329PD is a 6-shot. So, of course, bigger gun, higher capacity. One more round. Whether or not that's worth it is completely up to you. What the only thing that throws you kind of through the loop is weight. Whereas obviously normally you would expect the smaller, lower capacity gun to be lighter. That's not the case with these two guns. The Model 69 2 3/4 inch barrel weighs about 34 ounces because it's an all steel gun, whereas the 329PD with a 4-inch barrel only weighs 26 ounces. So almost, about 8-ounce difference because, like I said, this gun is an all-steel frame, whereas this is a scandium frame with a titanium cylinder. So it makes it a very light gun, even compared to the smaller Model 69. So that's the basic overall of the size, dimension, and weight. The next thing is concealability and carryability. And what I'm talking about is how easy is it to conceal the gun on your person and carry it all day long. Now, of course, this is going to be my personal preference. Everybody's a little bit different, but let's get into it. I guess at the end of the day, it really depends upon how you want to carry the gun. Now, both of these guns, I'm going to say, especially if you're going to carry these guns on your belt, it's important to have a good belt and a good holster. I've said that a million times. To carry any gun of any size, a good belt and a good holster almost always makes it easier. And these guns, being the size they are and the weight of they are, at least with the 69, they're no exception. I found that, so if you're looking for, I guess, for a belt carry, they're about the same. Honestly, my personal preference, I do like the bigger but lighter gun for belt carry, only because at the end of the day, the weight is something, you can wear baggy clothing and conceal size, but weight, you can't really hide the weight when it comes to something riding on your belt. So I gotta say, from a slight lead, I say the 329PD for me is a little bit easier to carry around all day. Again, if I was gonna carry something for 8 hours, I'd probably rather that. Now, with that being said, you have to kind of make sure you have a pretty baggy shirt. I've been wearing some Hawaiian shirts and stuff lately, and they conceal the gun quite well. And again, with a proper holster and everything, the gun actually does hide very well as long as you're wearing proper clothing. And that's in the summertime. In the wintertime, no problem at all. Either of these guns you could conceal quite well. Now, when it comes to shoulder rigs, I'm a big fan of shoulder rigs. I have shoulder rigs for both these guns. You would probably think I'm going to say that this is the easier gun to, or the more versatile gun when it comes to shoulder rigs. Honestly, I'm going to say the smaller gun is. Reason being, this Model 69 with its 2 3/4 inch barrel, I'm able to put in a slightly more comfortable and versatile horizontal shoulder rig with a slight downward cant, barrel up cant, allowing me that I can wear like a hoodie or a pullover sweatshirt or just about anything I want and draw the gun from underneath a sweatshirt, and it doesn't really make that big of a problem. Same thing, coats and everything else. Whereas this gun, because it's a little bit longer, I have found in my testing that you can really only carry this in a vertical shoulder holster, which isn't a problem, except it kind of limits the kind of over cover garments you can wear with it. Meaning, you know, a pullover sweatshirt or something isn't going to work because there's not really any angle to get the pull the gun if needed. You kind of need a coat or something that can be opened up, or a sweatshirt with a zipper, something along those lines. Whereas with this, you can pretty much wear just about anything you want. You could even just put a heavier shirt on top of it and still reach up, because you can have it in a horizontal Miami classic style shoulder rig versus this that almost always, in my opinion, has to be in a true vertical barrel down shoulder rig. So that's my thoughts on concealability and carryability. This topic I'm going to cover is recoil and firepower, and that's basically going to be which of these recoils harder, which of these do I think you get more bang for your buck out of. These guns both have the same grip on them, the Hogue Tamer grip, so recoil wise I think that was a pretty fair test. And for anybody wanting to know, I got the green OD green grip off of eBay. I've literally at least once a week I get asked that via email, via comment, so got it off eBay. I did a video on it. eBay. Back to the video. So honestly, if you would think the heavier gun would recoil softer, but I gotta give it to the 329PD. And I've actually asked other people that own both guns, and they agree with that, that even though this is lighter, I'm assuming the balance of weight is further forward on this, because, you know, up here is titanium and scandium, whereas the steel barrel, you know, it's a sleeve barrel, but this section right here, you know, from here to here is a chunk of steel with a scandium sleeve around it. So I guess that, I'm assuming that helps somewhat with the recoil, having the some of the weight out front, whereas the Model 69, especially with its short barrel, does not have nearly as much weight out front, so it does not help as much with recoil. They both recoil quite stoutly. That's, you know, for anybody thinking you're going to get one of these and it's going to feel a little bit worse than your 6.5-inch Blue 29, I'm here to tell you they are much stouter than that, especially with full power loads. Manageable, yes, but they are not. Neither of them is something you want to hand a beginner. Neither of them is something you want to fire a full power magnum out of the first time. And if I've scared you away, well, maybe that's for the best. But like I said, with practice, they are quite manageable. I enjoy shooting both of these guns, but they're not for the faint of heart. But yeah, so recoil-wise, 329PD, slightly easier to control. Again, they both have the same grip, and I highly recommend this Tamer grip for either gun. It really does soak up the recoil and make them much more fun to shoot. But on to firepower. Now firepower, again, the 329PD wins that hands down. Longer barrel, 4-inch barrel, whereas this has only got a 2 3/4-inch barrel. So you get more firepower, meaning you're going to get more velocity out of the rounds fired. And one more shot, 6-shot cylinder versus a 5-shot cylinder. Now, with that being said, the 2 3/4-inch barrel, you lose a chunk of energy, but not a huge chunk. I've done some velocity testing, and I've tested 2 different rounds so far, and I've noticed that both rounds I tested, there was an average about an 8-inch barrel they tested the round out of, and my results were just around maybe slightly under 200 feet per second drop in velocity from, you know, the 8-inch barrel down to a 2 3/4-inch. So you're still going to get plenty of oomph out of this barrel, especially if it's for personal protection. So no problems there, but like I said, at the end of the day, you're going to get more out of this, and you get one more shot. So that is recoil and firepower. Next, I'm going to cover aftermarket parts and accessories, and basically what that is how easy is it to get parts for them, how easy is it to get holsters and all that. So first thing I'm going to note is a lot of people always ask about speed loaders, and I have 2 different speed loaders here, right? I have the 2 most popular brands. I have Safariland and HKS. Now for the end frame, you can get the Safariland Comp 1, which is the small knob version, and you can, of course, get the HKS twist knob version. Now, for the, and I don't actually have it here with me, I'll admit I looked and could not find it. I think it's locked away somewhere. For the Model 69, you can only get the HKS speed loaders. You cannot get a Safariland speed loader. So while you can get speed loaders for both guns, you have a greater selection for this, because at the end of the day, this is just an end frame, and the end frame in 44 has, well, been around since the 50s. So, of course, there's more speed loader options out there for this gun. Sights-wise, they're identical. You can get XS big dots, you can get a variety of different sights, different aftermarket stuff out there for both guns. Plenty of options for sights. You know, most people know how Smith & Wesson sights work. Knock out the pin, put in your new front sight. You can adjust this, change this. Plenty of aftermarket sight options for both guns. Grips, again, same thing. The L frame and the N frame have been around forever. Plenty of grip options out there for both guns. So really no difference there. Again, I think the only big thing when it comes to these guns, I guess the only thing that separates them is, like I said, the fact that you can only get HKS speed loaders, at least from the time I'm filming this, for the Model 69, where you can get a few other versions for the N-frame 329PD. Now on to holsters, and I gotta give that to the 3-inch Model 69, and you'll notice I said 3-inch Model 69, not 2 3/4-inch barrel, because when you go and look for a holster for this gun, you're going to realize that they don't make 2 3/4-inch holsters, they make a lot of 3-inch holsters. And when I say a lot, I mean a few, not a lot, because in reality most people don't carry revolvers anymore, and if they do, it's usually a J-frame, so both guns you might have to hunt a little bit to find a holster, but Galco and DeSantis do make holsters for them, and a bunch of other companies do, and I'm sure if you ask a couple Kydex companies, they might make one for you, but generally it's going to be easier to find a holster for this, depending upon what you like versus this. But yeah, so that's basically holsters. Alright, so my final thoughts. At the end of the day, I gotta say I prefer the 329PD. I think they're both good guns. I think either one of them would serve you well in a concealed carry scenario. But at the end of the day, this being lighter, even though it's a bigger gun, if you dress properly, and you'd be surprised if you start like looking at your wardrobe how easy it is to conceal an end frame. Again, I've concealed this in the summertime in nothing more than a t-shirt and shorts. It's just all about making sure, and no, you don't have to wear super baggy clothing, but make sure you have a shirt that's, long enough to cover it. Again, doesn't have to be super long, just doesn't have to be that skin tight stuff that you see the hipsters wearing. But yeah, I guess at the end of the day, I gotta give it to the 329PD. That the weight is really what wins it for me. It just, if I had to wear something all day long, that would be it. Now, if it's the dead of winter and I'm decided to wear a shoulder rig, depending upon what I'm wearing, I might go with the 69, only because I could wear a pullover hoodie with that, where I wouldn't be able to with that if I was wearing a shoulder rig, but I could always put that on a belt holster and carry it. So that's my thoughts and comparisons of these two guns. Both good guns, both, really good for concealed carry. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them down below, and have a good day.